We conclude as we began with a little ray of sunshine. Like the majority of presenters this evening, Abbie Naylor is 22 years old, a writer and a creative. She is concerned with being authentic and keeping it real. She looks to transcend fear even as she holds on to vulnerability. She argues such themes are universal. I suspect she's right. Please, a warm welcome for Abbie Naylor.
Yeah! Hi everyone, my name's Abbie, and I was reading a book a while ago, and this quote just really struck me. It says, "You belong wherever you want to belong, be yourself, everyone is already taken." And I believe it, I think we all believe that, but sometimes it can be easier said than done. And that was Oscar Wilde. So around 10 years ago I moved to New Zealand from England. I had to leave my good friend Lizzie behind. And it was, I'm not going to lie, it was really scary. It was one of the most terrifying things I've ever done. I was 14 at the time. And now it's pretty scary too, but yeah, I've made my parents' life miserable, as you should when you're a teenager, I've found. Horror movies absolutely terrify me, and I don't know what it is, but when I watch a horror movie I expect this little guy to be there 20 minutes later, and I'm like, what, has he been waiting for 3 years just for that moment where he's like, oh, she's finally watched that movie, I'll go and get her now. And this is me at Disneyland Paris when I was around 3 or 4 years old. This is my, I forced myself to think of like my earliest memory of fear, and it came back to this, which is ironic that Disneyland's supposed to be the happiest place in the world. But there was this character and he came over to me and he made a joke about stealing me, but we made up and I hugged him and I moved on, and I'd never really thought about that since. This is basically what my brain looks like all of the time. I am a creative and an imaginative person, and sometimes my imagination gets away with me. So the thing is, I found that I really wanted to explore that and create something and do something, and I never really had the opportunity or taken any opportunity growing up to do that, so I wondered why I felt so a little bit lost, and I think that was why. So what I do when I feel a little bit afraid, usually, is I go here. I don't know if you've been there, but you just run far away, and as soon as you sense a little bit of fear, and I did that for a while. I've done that for most of my life, to be honest with you. And where are we? So I always think if I had $1 for every time I felt like the fear of someone judging me, or the fear of someone laughing at me, or the fear of rejection, like, I think I'd be really rich, so cheers to that shit. Cheers. Just yesterday, actually, I looked at my Facebook page and I was looking at all the response that I was getting for even just doing this, and everyone was so nice and supportive. Yeah, the first thing that came to my mind was how rude of everyone to put me at the standard that now I've got to, like, fulfill, and I was just scared, and I was like, how crazy is that we do that? Like, everyone's supportive, but we find a way to feel the fear instead. So yeah, the dictionary says being fearless is to be without fear. But the Urban Dictionary, which is more credible, says sitting on the bathroom floor crying is fearless. And I relate a little bit more to that one than the original definition. So the thing, having fear is actually really good for us. It's to tell us when we're in danger or when we should run, to tell us when we should go into fight or flight. So that's why we know when someone's following behind us, for example. But I think what we tend to do is we fuel a fear that isn't really real, and that can get quite, I guess, bad for us. So anyway, I recognised this, and I was like, hey, you can't keep living your life this way, you're being a bit ridiculous, you've got to get over it. So I was like, take my own advice, and I was like, okay. And then, yeah, I was like, you've got to start doing stuff. Like, you're not doing anything, you're not feeling fulfilled, like, you can't just do this all the time. Like, every single week was just the same, and yeah, so I took my own advice. And I did this thing which I recommend you all do. It's called a self-audit, I decided. And so you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, okay, these are all the aspects of my life. You can look at your relationships, you can look at your like spirituality, you can look at your work, you can look at your fitness and health, and just analyse that and just look at it and be like, am I happy? Like, and I wasn't. So I started working for myself, which was one of the best things I've ever done. I got to create things that I write a lot, and that was amazing to get back into that. I remember doing it as a kid, like briefly, and it was crazy. And then I also started getting back my sense of adventure. I lost that along the way, and I wasn't doing anything outside. And So one thing I did learn was your inner circle is so important. The people who keep close to you, the people that you trust with everything, these are the people that are going to either fuel or extinguish that fear. And when you say you're too scared to go forward, they're the ones that push you into it, which is a good thing. So yeah, shout out to the real MVPs. Yeah, I realised no one gives a shit what you do. To be honest, like, we work ourselves up and we think that everyone cares if we write this blog or say this speech or talk about this or how you dress. Like, I realised that people are really busy in their own lives, you know? Like, no one really cares. Just do you. Yeah, I realised that nothing's really as bad as it seems. And there's been a lot of times where I've like had or dreaded having conversations with people, or like just things like say how you feel, and you don't do it, and then when you finally do it, it's really not that bad. So I guess that puts things into perspective for me. And then I guess I realised now every time I feel scared, I'm like, I know how much I grow when I don't let that consume me and I do push forward. So now I'm on that path, like you can't go back. As soon as you do that one little thing and overcome one little fear, you just realise that there really is no going back now, because you know how great it is to overcome something. Yeah, so I realised you need to look after yourself. Like, you need to, your thoughts really do become your reality. And if you tell yourself like that you're scared over and over again, you're just going to get more scared, and then you're scared of being scared. And next thing you know, you're sitting on the bathroom floor. So yeah, look after yourself, look after your mind. I wrote this a while back. It's actually I've got a full blog that I've never posted online that I'll be doing next week for the first time finally. Yeah, let's be extremely, undeniably, unmistakably clear on the fact we only get to do this once. I think this became clear to me when someone close to me got really sick. And I think there's nothing like, you know, like having someone ill around you or seeing how bad some people have it to realise how good we do have it to be here just today. So yeah, I've got no idea what I'm doing, to tell you the truth. I've got absolutely no clue, and I think a lot of us don't, and that's okay. Like, we can just wing it, and we should wing it together and just keep doing us. Thank you.